afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today. My name is Austin Dixon, and I'm CEO of the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country here in Kerrville, Texas. I'd like for us all to start with a moment of silence to acknowledge all of the community members that we have lost, and we pray for everyone who is impacted and everyone who has lost so much. Thank you. We have gathered today to talk about and share some important news about how the Community Foundation and the community here in Kerr County are coming together to support flood victims and families impacted by the devastating floods on July 4th, 2025. Today we're talking about something that is at the heart of recovery for our Hill Country community, and that is housing. Because rebuilding a safe, stable place to call home is at the heart of recovery. I'm proud to share that the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country has committed $40 million to a new housing fund. This is more than bricks and lumber. It's about restoring stability, dignity, and hope for families. Whatever home looks like, whether it's a rebuilt house, a repaired RV, or a safe temporary apartment, this fund will help families get home. In addition to the $40 million housing commitment, in the first 45 days of this recovery, the Community Foundation has granted $16 million to more than 50 local nonprofit organizations working directly with flood survivors. That support has helped over 700 families with emergency assistance, supported over 200 small businesses so that they can keep people employed, and funded 17 volunteer fire departments, our local heroes who have answered the call, and 2 public school districts, including Hunt and Ingram, who are with us today. These grants have paid for things like temporary housing, groceries and food, replacing a car, funeral costs, cleanup expenses, and much needed counseling. Every dollar has helped flood victims stabilize and take that first step forward on the road to recovery. We have also made grants to get schools to open safely and on time. We have funded a water system in Hunt, Texas, so that it's repaired and operational, and a recovery center also in Hunt to support civic needs and to have a safe place for kids to meet after school. The Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country has organized its long-term response into 4 categories: housing, mental health and well-being, economic recovery and quality of life, and long-term recovery needs. The $40 million commitment to housing is the first strategy to be funded, and it will support temporary housing assistance, including displaced families housed through Airbnb.org, who is with us today, repairs and rebuilding through trusted nonprofits and local builders, some of whom are also here today, RV repairs and replacements for families whose RVs were their home, and case managers who will pull it all together and walk with families through this recovery side by side for the next 18 months or more. The Community Foundation's Board of Trustees has appointed a local advisory council, local leaders who know our community, are from our community, and understand housing, many of whom are here today, who will guide funding decisions of the housing commitment and ensure resources stay local and are put where they needed most. Their recommendations to the Foundation's Board of Trustees are an essential step in effective philanthropy and community-led response to disaster. This is one of the fastest and the largest philanthropic responses ever mounted by a community foundation. And it's proof what we already know about Texas and the Hill Country. When disaster strikes, it brings out the best in all of us. We are deeply grateful to all of our partners who are with us today, including the Governor of the state of Texas, Governor Abbott, state and federal officials who have been here since day one to support us in our efforts, Airbnb.org, local nonprofits, local builders, community leaders. This is not just recovery, it's rebuilding lives together. Thank you.
Well, Austin, listen, congratulations on your announcement. Thank you for everything that you have done so far. I would amend what you said. In my experience as governor, I've never seen a community or a foundation respond faster at literally getting the resources donated to the people who need it the most. Let me kind of walk through the standard process that we go through in responding to a disaster like this, and then comment about what you guys are doing. So anytime when we see what happened either here in Kerrville or what happened in Hurricane Harvey, name the disaster. The first thing we focus on is saving lives. And that includes the ongoing search and rescue operations. The second thing that we focus on is things like removing debris. Then we work through that process on legislation. And by the way, as we are speaking right now, the Texas House of Representatives has taken up multiple pieces of legislation that fully respond to all the needs of the Kerrville, but also the other areas affected by all of these devastating floods. I am told that just as I arrived here, the Texas House of Representatives passed out of their chamber the camp safety bill to ensure that camps in the state of Texas will be safer from flooding events that cost lives like this one did. Then all along the way, what's necessary is the rebuilding process. There are so many people who are displaced that we need to be very empathetic to. These are people who lost their home, people who don't have a place to live, people who are waiting to get back into their homes. And we need to really feel the pain that they are struggling through, knowing that they have to get back into their home as quickly as possible. Corresponding to that, we have donors, so many generous people here in the state of Texas who have supported that effort. And they have the donor intent to make sure those dollars are going to be used to get those people back into their homes. To see what you've done today with this announcement of $40 million, to know the extent to which it is going to help people actually get back into their homes. And let's aggregate this together. He talked about this new $40 million grant in addition to more than $15 million already granted. And in addition to that, many of you are familiar with what the George Strait Foundation provided. 2 weeks ago, we handed out checks to people who are homeowners who were very devastated. We'll be back again this coming Saturday to hand out more checks. The first round of checks there were $25,000. There will be more money provided. The point is this. The George Strait Foundation is helping about 75 families, 75 residences be able to be fully paid for the rebuilding process. When you look at the money that the Community Foundation is providing to these other local organizations, in addition to the money that would be available after that, I see no reason whatsoever why all of the residents who lost a permanent residence in this region are not only going to be able to have that permanent residence fully rebuilt, but rebuilt at record speed. There's construction projects going on right now, and this is able to happen because of the charitable donations that have been provided. Let me give you a contrast example, and that is when Hurricane Harvey hit, there were literally hundreds of thousands of homes that were impacted and destroyed. And it was far more than what charitable contributions would be able to pay for. As a result, it got stuck into a process that goes through the federal government, that goes through HUD, and it literally takes years, maybe even a half a decade, to get people back into a permanent residence. What these people at this table are doing, they are ensuring that the people of this community will not be going through that experience. They're getting people back in homes this month, next month, very quickly. And this is not only a record amount of money being provided to local residents, I think it's going to be a record speed at which these homeowners are going to be able to get back into their homes. And so I just wanted to be here and say, Austin, thank you for your leadership of this, but also for everybody at this table who will be the local partners involved in the process of making sure that this community is going to be able to execute on the promise of these funds to get into the hands of all the right people to ensure that everybody who is displaced from a permanent residence will be able to get back into that home as quickly as possible. So thank you for doing such a great job.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you. Thank you, Governor. Now I'd like to introduce Lucy Harmon, who's the superintendent of Hunt ISD, who's seen firsthand some of the impact of Community Foundation grants up to this point. Lucy.
Thank you, Austin. I first want to echo Governor Abbott's comment about the speed of the Community Foundation. Austin and the Community Foundation have been trusted partners and members of our community for a long time. So personally, as a resident of the area, after this tragic flood, when I saw their flood relief fund that was stood up so quickly, it brought me peace to be able to tell people, oh, that's where you send your money. And so I appreciate the quick thinking, the quick action of the Community Foundation in that effort. In the fast-paced 6 or 7 weeks that have followed, the Community Foundation has been there for us time and time again. Our students and families are facing incredible challenges right now, but I do want to tell you the support we've received from the Community Foundation and others has been unbelievable, and it's been very meaningful. I do really great when I'm just pressing on in my day, when I have to stop and think about how blessed we've been with the people that have supported us. It does tend to choke me up, so I will move on. The support for this housing recovery initiative will be very impactful for us as educators. Our students thrive when their housing situation is under control, when they're in their homes and their homes are stable. And so we appreciate this effort because it really supports our students and our families in a meaningful way. We're grateful for the generosity from the Community Foundation that we've all experienced so far. I can tell you personally, I serve on the Community Allocation Committee for the Hunt Preservation Society, and I see several of my fellow committee members here, and I know they would echo the same sentiment. We were so grateful to receive $300,000 from the Community Foundation. We were able early to host an event at the Hunt School that offered resources to our families and our residents that had been displaced or received flood damage, and we were able to immediately put funds in their hands. And that was not only such a joy to be a part of, but it meant so much to them. They were just so touched by the fact that they were able to walk away from that event with immediate funds to help them get started, so we were appreciative for that. In addition to that, if you've never been to Hunt, it is not an incorporated city, and so it has a community water system. The school district used to work off of a well system, which you can imagine is a disaster when trying to ensure that water safety for children. And so we transitioned to be a part of the water group, the community water system there in Hunt, quite a few years back. And so this $370,000 the Community Foundation has done in support of our water system is not just important for the community, important for the school, but it is it's what we really needed at a time that we needed. And so we appreciate that, because anything that can help us with that infrastructure is powerful. I'm excited about the $500,000 grant that the Hunt Preservation Society is receiving. Again, if you've never been to Hunt, we have 4 buildings. We have the volunteer fire department, we have the school, we have the Hunt store, and we have the post office. We now do not have the Hunt store or the post office. Both were devastated in the flood. And so this $500,000 is going to a community center that will be placed in that central part of town. It will serve as a gathering spot for us. It will serve as a temporary post office. That's a big deal for us. We're currently driving at least 45 minutes round trip to even collect mail if the traffic's good. And so these things will not only be convenient, but it's just a real morale booster for the community to have those things back. My students, several of my older students would commonly walk to the Hunt store after school and hang out waiting for parents, and they've lost that. And so we've also talked about that community center having like a student center in it where kids can hang out in that transition time. And that will be so meaningful to every single community member and every single student at Hunt School. So we're so appreciative for that grant. Then finally, we did receive a little bit of flood damage at the Hunt School. In addition to that, we immediately turned the Hunt School into a recovery and response responders support center. And so we operated 4 or 5 weeks housing responders, K-9 units, all kinds of things, feeding them. And so it took a little bit to pivot from a recovery center to a school, and the Community Foundation was there with whatever we needed, and we appreciated that support. We were able to open school yesterday. We are having day 2. Day 1 was very successful. We are on day 2, and so we appreciate that. Our classrooms do not smell like K-9 units anymore, and all of this is thankful to the Community Foundation for their support in this effort. The Community Foundation, I want you to know, is making a real tangible difference for our students, our schools, and both Ingram and Hunt schools and our families. Together, we're going to ensure that children can focus on learning and healing while their families can rebuild their lives. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Lucy. Thank you, Lucy. I'd now like to introduce Bobby Templeton, who's the former superintendent of Ingram ISD, and he's the chairman of the West Kerr Chamber of Commerce. Bobby.
Thank you. Governor Abbott, thank you for being here, sir. Sure. It's an honor getting to sit up here with you. It really is. As someone who's worked alongside families and first responders and nonprofits for years, I can tell you that these grants make a huge difference. They not only support the people who protect us, they take care of our families, they take care of our parents. And in just 6 weeks, millions of dollars have gone straight into our immediate relief. And I want everybody to know that when you hear things like that, that is not just a number on a page. Each of those dollars represent a face. They represent a parent. They represent a grandmother, maybe, who is taking care of 3 or 4 kids. They represent a single mother. They represent people who struggle every day just to pay the bills. So when we talk about relief, we are talking about actual human relief. Austin, thank you very much. From my perspective as the West Kerr chair, I cannot tell you how important the Community Foundation has been for our recovery. We did have quite a bit of damage. One of our buildings was completely lost. We had to relocate some of our operations. Our security fencing was torn down. We have several $1 million worth of damage. And a couple of days after this happened, I got a few calls. I got a few calls from the state. I got a few calls from law enforcement, first responders. But one of those calls came from Austin. Thank you, Austin. And he didn't ask what was going on. He knew. He just said, what do we need to do? And I started to explain what he could do, and he said, wait a minute, I'm on my way. Let me drive out there. Meet me in about 20 minutes. So 20 minutes later, he was there, and it was like a breath of fresh air. We felt so dejected. We felt helpless. We felt things that I've never felt before. And there's a few seminal moments throughout this tragedy that have really helped us feel whole again, and one of those seminal moments was my conversation with Austin Dixon when he said, the Community Foundation is going to be here, we are going to take care of you, we've got this. And out in the middle of a big debris field, you actually saw 2 grown men out there hugging. And so I just want to say thank you to that. Throughout this, somebody asked me earlier, said, how do you feel about all this? And the word that I gave off the cuff kind of was inspired. Although it's really sad, it's tragic. We have families that have lost everything. We have teachers that have lost everything, community members. But for me, the thing that strikes home most is just how inspiring this is. There is what I'm calling a uniquely American spirit that kind of runs through all of this. One of my jobs in the few days after this happened was delivering food. And I had the privilege of delivering food to first responders from all over the country, Michigan, Indiana, Arizona. I even delivered some food to the Mexican Navy. And I didn't even know Mexico had a Navy. But it was so inspiring, and I've never been so proud to be an American for all of these people just to show up to help a tiny little fly speck of a town they've never heard of, people they don't know. One of these days, I hope we in the West Kerr community are able to load up a bus and go help somebody someplace else. So it's been very, very inspiring. You know, and we're going to hear this over and over, that the road is long and it's, you know, it's not a short turnaround. But we are already starting to see a really big crisis in terms of housing. So many of the people that we deal with, Lucy and I in our school and in West Kerr County, are very poor. They don't have 2 nickels to rub together, and when you give them $5,000, it is like giving some of us $50,000. It's just unbelievable. And to see the look on those people's faces when you're able to give them some money, and not only give them money, but give them hope and give them a future, it is probably one of the coolest things that I've ever experienced. And I thank you for that. I cannot tell you how proud I am to be an American and how proud I am to be a Texan through all of this, and how proud I am to be part of the Kerrville and West Kerr community. We're a special lot, I've learned. And one thing one of our coaches told me and keeps telling me over and over, and I'm going to tell it to everybody, and that is this: we got this. We got it.
Thank you, Bobby.
You're welcome.
I'd now like to introduce Christoph Gorder, who is the Executive Director of Airbnb.org. The Community Foundation, as a part of its housing commitment, has made a $1.6 million grant to Airbnb.org to make short and long-term housing available immediately for local families. Christoph will tell you more about how this collaboration will work and what Airbnb.org has already been up to in Texas. Christoph.
Great, thanks Austin, and thank you all for having me here today. We are honored and grateful to play a small role in the recovery here and be part of this community. I lead an independent nonprofit called Airbnb.org, which was founded by Airbnb about 5 years ago to help leverage the Airbnb platform of millions of Airbnbs around